Routine is basically the biggest thing for me. Food, sleep, training, having days where I am training alone sometimes, but then also having days where I'm training with people, somebody to motivate you, to push you forwards. Practicing, getting into the mindset. You can't always have somebody there pushing you. Like some days you might want to just focus on working with yourself. When I look back on my CrossFit career, I want to have at least made it to the games and podium. That's what I would really want. But even just getting to experience it, that would be great.
That was so funny. You were like, who are you setting up to interview?
Yeah.
You, Paige.
Okay. I don't know. Wait, what question?
Paige, it's my job to ask the questions. You don't got to worry about anything. I got to do all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure, it looks good. It's got some new gear.
Yeah, I like it. It's so nice and comfy. It's similar to the ones that I got at my old gym built when they had their comp. I really liked that one.
So, yeah, you're down in town for a couple days. You and Brennan. He's from PA, so he doesn't have. Actually, his drive isn't that much longer than yours. I think his is close to a 3-hour drive. Cause he's in the western suburb of the state. So yours is what, four to get down here?
It's actually 3 hours and I think 20 or 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Close to 4 hours, but yeah.
So when we were first talking, you're like, yeah, I guess probably was talking to your mom, and they're like, yeah, we're from Canada, but it's only 4 hours or less than 4 hours to get there. I was like, I didn't know I could get to Canada in 4 hours from where I'm at. So it was pretty cool. I mean, you guys are just west of Niagara, really.
Yeah, we're in 20 minutes away from Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was talking to one of my clients who's in the Boston area, and it's crazy because you look at New England of the United States, and it's it goes so far both north, and then also you don't realize how far east it is. Maine is so far over, and then it's people who are in Canada are oftentimes way south of that. You don't even realize it. At least I didn't realize it. I'm maybe challenged in that way. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've only ever been to Calgary, Ontario, and then here, and actually Michigan. Those are the only places.
Yeah, for the pit, right?
Yeah, that was my first time leaving Canada.
Really?
So,
yeah. And again, I think that's one that that's not that far south for you though, really. Yeah,
it was about 4 or 5 hours.
Again, because Michigan kind of wraps up around the lakes there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might have been no, I think it was 5 hours. Can't really remember. But
but still not that far.
Yeah, this drive feels a lot nicer.
Are you in the French-speaking part of Canada at all?
Well, we take French. I was in French immersion from up to grade 6. Actually, no, grade 6 was when I switched to English, and then it was just the random French classes and stuff. Yeah.
But is there any part of Canada that school is taught in French, or is it all English?
There are French immersion, and then in in Quebec area, that's where there's a lot of French people.
Yeah.
They mainly just speak French, but they know some English. They speak good English too. But
it just sounds a little funny.
Yeah, they're definitely more comfortable in French.
Yeah.
That's what they normally,
Yeah, so is that what they would talk in just normal conversation? Would it be primarily French?
Yeah, for in Ottawa, Quebec. The Quebec area.
Yeah. Yeah, when you came down and kind of visited and were getting a feeler for if we'd be a good fit or not, your mom brought me a bunch of these maple Canadian syrup. Snacks and stuff. Yeah, maple syrup. That was really gone within a month. That whole thing was gone.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But I'm a sucker for real syrup. But it was all my point was all the labels were in English and French. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, everything has French and English.
Yeah. Is that all of Canada or just
all at least all the places I've been.
Everywhere that I've been. Are the roads that way?
The roads.
Are they labeled? Yeah, street signs and stuff.
I feel they're mainly English names, but they will also be French names too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A weird hybrid.
Yeah, like there's like the odd ones and stuff. Yeah.
If anything, you're just learning how poorly versed I am in other cultures. But you're down here for the first half of the week, getting some training in, feeling some stuff out. What was your first impression of Williamsport?
I really like the old buildings. It's like, there's none like of those like big like kind of like, because in, you know, like the big cities where they have those like very like cubed buildings that are just like all glass.
Yeah.
That I don't like those that much. I feel like they're not really nice. But like you guys have a lot of those like nice brick buildings, and this just looks like something
So
out
nice.
of the past.
Yeah.
It's like
Old
nothing's
brick
really
buildings, spacious, so nice.
nothing's really been upgraded, and I love that.
You'll be perfect for Williamsport.
Yeah. And like the drive up here too, like there's just so many like small towns with these like little like tiny like town hall type stuff, and I love it so much.
Yeah, you came here the first time, you're like, wow, like there's so many old buildings, and you were so excited about it. I was like, most 18-year-olds aren't saying this when they show up here.
Yeah, I don't know why, I love it so much. They like have so much character.
So how long have you been doing CrossFit?
So it's kind of been like a weird like thing. Like, so my dad, he always knew that I would end up liking CrossFit, but at first I was kind of like just really into gymnastics at the time, and obviously I didn't want him to be right, so I was like, no, I don't like it. And then they did make me do some classes in Okotoks when I think I was like 8. I think it was like a
CrossFit
month.
Kids, or?
Yeah, it was like just CrossFit Kids stuff. We were just like using basically like PVC pipes, learning movements. I did that for about a month. I did one comp, and then I stopped. I didn't go back for like a few years, and we moved to Ontario, St. Catharines. There, one of my friends who's in gymnastics, she went to this gym called Fit Collective, or actually it was CrossFit St. Catharines at that time, and I ended up just like joining her private lesson there. So I started doing that. I think I did that for a month or two, maybe even 3 months, where I was just doing the private lessons with her, and then I did.
How old are you?
I feel like I think I was like 12 or something. Wait, one minute. Yeah, wait.
Like maybe.
So I think I think in Okotoks I might have been even younger. So yeah, I think I was like around 12 there, because I started like around COVID. That was when I got back.
Oh my gosh, you're 12 in COVID?
No.
I was like, what?
I started back again, because I also stopped after that. I did this one little comp with her also. We got second place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, it was like maybe a year or two, and then COVID. And that was when I was in, I think grade 7 was when COVID started. And then when we went online, I couldn't go to the gym for gymnastics. And at that time, I already started noticing that when I was at the gym, I didn't actually enjoy doing like the actual gymnastics part. Like if we got free time on Fridays, I would go and do workouts. Like I'd make myself workouts. There was this one that I loved doing with like the boxes, or it was like one of those big resi mats. I would flip it, and then I'd go do like a rope climb. And there was like burpees.
Big flips and rope climbs, all right.
Yeah. And then everybody else was doing like skill work. So at that time I started to kind of notice that maybe I didn't actually fully like gymnastics as much as I thought.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, COVID happened, and I was also having a lot of issues with my feet, because I have flat feet, so I was having like lots of feet pain and knee pain stuff, and it would be like 2-3 months being out like in pain, and then like 1 month where I'm feeling good. So that got annoying too. And then then I stopped, and for COVID, we couldn't go to the gym. So then my dad, right before that, he went to RX, this one gym in St. Catharines, different from the one I was in before. It was closer to our house, and they were letting people take equipment home with them.
Yeah.
And then like giving workouts to do with the equipment.
Yeah.
So I did workouts with him, and then that's when I kind of like fully switched to CrossFit. But I was just doing classes for that year.
This was like middle school, high school?
This was grade 7 for me, so almost going into high school. So yeah, because like in grade 8, I think that's when I started doing like morning CrossFit class, and then I would do like this lifting thing after school. And that was that. I definitely did start like going too competitive too quickly, because I did kind of burn out for that, like that whole year.
Yeah, so you're essentially doing like 2-a-days.
Yeah, I got like hamstring tendonitis that year, and because I would go from like running right into like lifting, and like a full running with this group. Like I just started running, like I never ran really before that because of my flat feet.
Yeah.
So it was like kind of like a shock on my body to go from like the running with the like actual people who've been running for like years, and then like after going right to the gym and doing like squats and stuff like that, like heavy squats. So I kind of like overworked the hamstrings a bit. Mm-hmm. And then after that, for grade 8, that was when I really started to actually get competitive. I started trying to take things like more seriously, because I knew that year I kind of messed up a bit. So I started getting coached by this like Josh Jarvey who owns Built, and he coached me for almost 2 years, and then I ended up, because he got into fire and stuff like that, so, and he had his gym and then his kids, so it was like a bit too like a lot. Yeah. So he just like he wasn't coaching anymore. He doesn't coach anymore. He just like he just takes care of the gym and like sometimes coaches classes. And then I switched to CrossFit Connection, and then yeah, but yeah, even with like at first like that second year, I still was doing like morning and night like stuff, like one morning session for like an hour, and then like after school training. But I still felt like that was a bit much, because I was always like feeling like exhausted. Yeah. And then I went with Michael. We kind of like took some steps back, tried to build up some of the small muscles, because I actually, in that time, that whole like 2 or 3 years, I got the hamstring tendonitis, I got knee tendonitis, I think I got a little bit of like almost close to shoulder tendonitis, like it was getting there.
Yeah, a lot of like overuse stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And then later ended up getting back issues. So now, like, but with Michael, we just kind of went back and like just worked up the smaller muscles and stuff like that, working on lifting technique, because like those first few years I didn't really do much technique work for my lifts. So I was one of those people who would do snatches with my butt in the air with my legs straight and my deadlifts that way.
I kind of still snatch that way, Paige. I do. You're talking to me.
Yeah, it took me a while. I really didn't want to use the legs. I wanted all lower back for some reason.
So we were snatching today in one of your sessions, and we were just talking about like your setup position. It's like your hips are always going to be fairly high, just because your legs are long, and if you want your knees out of the way, you kind of have to keep your hips a little bit high.
Also difficult, because I was like, why can't I snatch properly? And then I realized,
if you try to snatch like a Chinese weightlifter who has femurs 3 inches shorter than you, it's not gonna look the same. Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and then I also didn't have lifting shoes. Like I only started really like getting better at my squat snatches when I got lifting shoes, because I was able to actually get into like better positioning. Yeah. And that helped a lot.
I think a lot of teens who get into CrossFit, which is obviously like more and more people now, is like, parents are now exposing their kids to it. It's tough, like in a class environment, you only get so much like time to like teach things, but at the same time, it's like a good atmosphere for kids to be in, because they still pick up a lot from the adults. But then they end up missing some of like the foundational stuff that like sets you up for like having just like durability.
Yeah, that really.
Versus like, for example, like myself when I was growing up, it was like my exposure to like strength training was like squats, deadlifts, bicep curls, like very much like, powerlifting, bodybuilding style. Whereas like obviously CrossFit it's not as much focused on like time and retention. There's no like building up of individual muscle groups. So it's like some of the complexity of like those higher level movements took me a long time to learn. But then it was like a lot of like the actual like muscle tendon could handle a lot, because it was like so built up from just doing like all the volume of those reps. So it's kind of a different situation for people who grew up doing CrossFit now versus like 20 years ago. No one grew up doing CrossFit. So it was like everybody had a different background. And this is like, I think part of like your story as an athlete is like, how do I take from where I was at and continue in my journey to where I want to go? And everybody's just got a different starting place, and like everybody's got a little bit of, you know, movement baggage and all that stuff that they carry with them. So it's just ironing some of that out as you get more mature as an athlete.
Yeah, it's really like a sport where you have to think like, I can do this, but like, should I do this right now? Like, am I ready to do this? Like, can my body handle it? And like, really like a lot of building up to like higher levels and stuff, like more training and everything. Yeah,
and that was one of the big things when you came to me, was like, you were dealing with like a lot of just like pain and discomfort, like particularly around your back. And it was like, you basically taken like a month off before we really started together. And it was, I feel like as I've gotten deeper into my coaching career, I'm more like, okay, being honest with people, like, hey, we'll see how long this takes. Like, I can't guarantee we're going to get you out of pain right away. Like, who knows how long that process could take.
Yeah.
And like, thankfully, like, you progressed fairly quickly. And I think it was just like one of those things, like, once you like, at least hopefully we have some trust at this point. It's like, once you start seeing some good results and you kind of build up that trust, then it's like you get to offload some of the decision-making process that you were saying before. Like, should I do this? Should I not do this? It's like, now you just let, you know, you can give the information to me and I'll help you make that decision. Yeah. Where it's not like all like the ownership is on you as an athlete. Like, should I do this extra piece? Am I being soft today? Should I, you know, how hard should I go for this? Like, all those kind of questions. Like, I mean, that's obviously one of the huge benefits of coaching, is that like, there's someone outside of you that like you can trust, that you can go to, who can be way more objective with yourself than like you're ever able to be. So let's just like focus on like the sandbag and like what you were going on with that, and then like how your back was feeling, and just kind of like take us through like where you feel like that's been trending, because I feel like that's been something that's been a big win for us lately.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that the back issue, I had a lot of things like that were that kind of made it have like that sort of issue. Was some of the things like I think that might have caused it were I have like I did have weak hamstrings. So, well, from my tilted pelvis, because I have a tilted pelvis, and because I was always tilted forwards, they were always like stretched, but then also not really like working. Like I didn't have really much feeling of my hamstrings for like a really long time. Like any movement that was supposed to work the hamstrings, I didn't actually feel the hamstrings ever. Yeah. And
like the low back was just kind of like taking over for a lot of what the hamstring should have been doing.
Yeah, like the hamstrings did absolutely.
Yeah, we don't know exactly why this is. I mean, talking with you, I think it could be maybe a combination of like, you know, gymnastics. They what's the word I'm looking for? Reinforce certain positions all the time, right? It's so basically you're in arch all the time.
Yeah.
And like obviously like that's not always the position you want to be in for something like CrossFit. Like there's times where you need to be in neutral and brace. There's times where you need to be in a hollow or arch, or you know, you really need much more like control of your pelvis. So anyway, we think maybe that's part of it. You had some scoliosis, like that could be part of it.
That
so
also,
there could be multiple factors, but anyway, keep going.
Yeah, so like even like old pictures of me, like if I would just be standing, like you'd see, like I would just always like stand over, like completely over arch.
Yeah, you're like default is in arch. Yeah.
It was a U. That was just how I would stand, and I've really worked on it a lot, and now I can actually like get into like somewhat of a straight position, where before like I actually like physically couldn't, because I didn't have like the strength, and also there was like the lack of mobility in certain muscles that were like over tight.
You were at a competition where you had to do sandbag stuff, right? And it was like really bad.
That was like the first time, because I hadn't done like sandbag stuff in a while, and I was already having like, it started off, this was before the comp, the first time where I actually really felt it and I started having the issues. I would be doing like heavy like squats, and like I would get like little like spasms in my back after doing the squats, and like they didn't hurt at first. It was just like I could feel them like spasming, and then slowly like their pain came with it. And then I was at the comp doing the sandbags, and it just like gave out almost like immediately, and I was just like walking like super arch, like waddle walk. I hate looking back at those videos. It looked horrible. But I mean, at that time, it wasn't completely giving out. when I was there, like I was able to actually carry the weight still.
Kind of got through it.
Yeah, like I was able to get through it, but not very good. Then I kept training. Like I don't remember taking any time like to try to like see if I could try to like relax the back and like try to get it to calm down.
Yeah.
I just kept training, but like I would also mention like certain things like if I ever did feel it, and I would kind of pull back a little bit because like I didn't really like the spasming and the pain.
Why not?
Yeah. So then the training actually got a little bit better because I was kind of taking it back a bit, like on myself. I was just like doing lower
just dialing
weights
it
and
back.
stuff.
Yeah.
And then I did the pit teen comp, and there was like a lot of lower back stuff. Like there was heavy deadlifts. Well, actually they were like at 125 deadlifts. There was one workout with that. There was a lot of like dumbbell clean stuff, and I can't really remember. There was a max snatch and a max clean and jerk, and the last workout that we were to do was sandbag carries, and I started with the cleans. Like the sandbag cleans, I can't remember how much it was, but like how many we had to do, but it was 100 pounds on like for the bag. The cleans were no problem. Like I was doing those easy. I didn't feel anything at all. The second I started walking to do my carries,
Yeah.
it gave out like almost immediately. And like the first I can't remember how long it was, but it's probably like a little bit longer than the length of this table. I had to drop it like every single time, like on every single line, because it was like I was barely making it over the line.
Yeah.
And it was bad. It was like full spasm basically.
Yeah.
And I did make it through, and I got like I think third in that workout, and I still placed first. So it was okay.
You still won.
I still won.
Doing
but yeah,
6 feet at a time or whatever. That's crazy.
I still wasn't too happy about that, and I was like, I think that this might be actually like a bit of a problem, like a real problem, because it shouldn't have been like that bad where it's like I physically couldn't like move it. Like I couldn't hold it up. It was just like I either had to go forwards or I had to be like completely all the way back, which would cause more spasming both ways. And I started like I think after that I don't even think I fully went like I don't even think I relaxed after that. Like I didn't step back training at all after. It was just like back into normal training still. Well, I had school starting. There was the pit, and then I think the school started the next week, and then at the end of the week I also had like level 1 CrossFit coaching course, and I went all out in the workouts.
Yeah, of course. There'd be no other way that the level 1 would have it. Until you do Fran, until you fall off the bar and break your neck.
Yeah. And I just kept training and stuff like that, but then my back, it wasn't improving. It was like, I would go to like the chiropractor or something like that. I think chiropractor and physio, I think I went to a few times. Yeah, it was like, I think it was mainly the chiropractor. Okay, so he would like try to like release my back, and it was like basically rock hard, and like if he would try to like put pressure on it, I could feel my back spasming against the pressure.
Yeah.
So it like really didn't want to let go ever. The only time I ever felt like some sort of release was when I had like kind of like the shock thing. Not like
a
needles,
TENS unit?
but like it was like the little pad that you'd put on the back, and yeah, that was like the only time I ever actually got released after that. But then like a few days later,
probably because like the muscle like gets tired and doesn't want to contract
it's
anymore,
like,
so it's like
fine.
finally relaxed. Yeah.
But yeah, sure enough, a few days later it was back at it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say we did something like super scientific to like get you out of that, but it was just like
physio exercises, like working to align, like actually get the mobility to hold myself out properly, and then
I mean, honestly, it was just like starting super low, like start with 50 pounds,
because like I could barely hold
and just holding it, static holds, and like making sure we're like staying in alignment and not overarching or leaning forward, just like holding good positions and doing a lot of like hamstring accessory type stuff that's like where you can't escape using your hamstrings from it.
Those I think really helped.
And like again, I think also it helps when you're just doing a lot more other training too. And I think for people who can handle that, it like think it's good both like physiologically and psychologically. Like, I think for you, honestly, a big part of it was just like showing to yourself that like I am capable of like handling more training and like still feeling good while I'm doing it, as long as it's like structured in the right way. That's going to be a continued part of your process, is like, you know, obviously like continuing to work on things you need to work on while keeping your body healthy and like your mind engaged and everything. But I think for you in particular, where you're at, like you were doing very little training when we first started. So it was just like getting you to the point where it's like, hey, you're capable of training and like having a robust physiology where you're not like concerned about like hurting yourself all like, or like needing to back off all the time. Like you can push through quite a bit, but then there's also times where it's like, we can build in deloads and other things that have like systems in place to make sure you are feeling good. So yeah, I wish I could say it was super fancy, but it was just kind of like showing to yourself that like, okay, I'm using the right muscles now, and we're just going to keep slowly building this up and making sure that we're kind of collecting wins with it, rather than just like doing 300 feet of carries in a workout and being destroyed from it and then like waiting 4 days and doing it again or whatever. Which is easy to do in CrossFit, I think.
Yeah, because I do think that after, like I do get sometimes after injuries, I do get kind of like, I don't know what it's called, but it's almost like, you know, I think it's like the phantom like injury type feeling, like almost like a phantom limb, but like kind of like you feel it's there, you feel the injury, but it's not actually still injured.
Yeah, you just like guard it. Like, so I tore my ACL in high school, which is obviously like a pretty serious injury. And it was like for years, and maybe even still a little bit, like I just carry more tension in my quad in particular on that side, just because it's like I'm always like a little bit tense with it. Like, and for the longest time, I didn't want to like, for example, like I would have never been able to, like I didn't do squat cleans in high school, but I would have never been able to do something like that where you have to like use that stretch shortening cycle and kind of bounce out of the bottom of a squat. Like I would have never let my body into that position. So it was always like, if I did squats, it was always kind of like controlled into the bottom of the squat and back out. So it's just like little things like that where I was like, obviously like my body was more than capable at that point, because I was strong enough, I had rehabbed it effectively, like I was ready for it. It was just that like my mind didn't want to let me go there or something. So yeah, that's totally a thing. Yeah, exactly. But I think that's as simple as like you just need reps and time to remind yourself like, I'm okay in these positions. I'm not gonna like, okay, if my low back is tired in a workout, that doesn't mean I'm gonna injure myself. Yeah. I feel like we might have even had a conversation like that. But yeah, I mean, I think as simple as it is, like you have to get yourself to the point where that's actually true. Like I'm not gonna hurt myself when I'm in this workout, but then it's also then building up.
Yeah, sure. It's like being aware, but then also not being too aware. Yeah. Like you don't want to let yourself.
And it's like technique too. Like we were talking today about your snatch technique, and it's a very similar thing where it's like you need to be aware of your technique, and you need to even maybe hold certain cues in your head as you're going through reps. Yeah. But you can't be so obsessed over technique that it stops you from like actually putting force into the bar and lifting. Yeah,
I feel like the snatch is the one where it's like I'm so focused on the technique that I don't like. Yeah, I have issues. That's why I have issues with it, because it's like I just think too much about it instead of just actually just doing it.
I think a lot of people deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's next for you?
I'm gonna take this year to just train, like focus on like CrossFit, and then also doing that one Camp Molly thing for the firefighting, and then maybe next year, if I feel like ready, like trying to get into firefighting, which I think I will, like just maybe do online stuff for that, and then like the stuff I gotta do in person. Yeah, we'll do it.
So you just graduated high school.
Yeah.
To say that.
Yeah, I just graduated.
Yeah, so congrats. That was literally last week. You had like graduation and prom and all that, and so this is like your first week off that you just came down to Williamsport, but it worked out, so it's cool. Yeah, and then so basically you're taking a gap year, gonna train, kind of chill out a bit in terms of some of like the academic type stuff, and then you came to me and were like, should I do this? I don't know, I might interfere with training. I was like, no, you should definitely do it. Like, you know, if this could potentially be your career move, like you got to go after that kind of stuff. So I think that'll be a fun opportunity for you, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be doing Supra coming up here.
I'm excited for that. It's like I think it's fully like sold out, like all the spots. Yeah.
Nice. Filled up.
So filled up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I think like, this is gonna be like one of the first ones where it's like fully filled, like all the spots are full. in my division.
I'm laughing because when I did NorCal, it was like, you know, half the last heat was not full because people kept dropping out.
Oh.
So hopefully this doesn't happen to you and everyone's healthy at the end of it. But yeah, it'll be cool to actually see you compete and see how it goes. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, seeing how if I've improved and stuff since the back. Because like even though I did have that back issues and stuff, I feel like training wise I was pretty fit. Like the summertime, that's always when I would get like my best. Like I would always feel great every training day and stuff like that. And then the school was
because the sun's out in Canada. It's not freezing cold and snowing all the time. I guess you're only 3 hours north of me. It's probably not that different, but that's how I feel even here sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you came down here for like that initial kind of consult, let's call it, I was like, you know, we'll see how this goes because like I'm not even sure how much training you should be doing right now, like based on where you're at, like health wise. And you came down here and I like wrote some pretty conservative workouts and like you did super well in them. And I was like, oh, she's gonna be just fine. She just needs a little bit of like confidence back in everything. So it was definitely, yeah, like you were saying, like the fitness was there. It was just a matter of like getting certain things that were a challenge mechanically back into the right place again. So yeah, I'm excited to continue to see where it goes. I think, you know, I always want people to be prepared for competitions, but I think at the same time, like this will be like a kind of a good checkpoint because it'll also be like our first competition together. So it'd be cool to see where things go.
Yeah. Hopefully I podium.
Not that we have any pressure on ourselves at all, but automatically putting expectations on it. I was just talking to JC, Brennan's mom, about that, and she's like, yeah, he puts like so much pressure on himself. I was like, yeah, but like, that's fine if you do it. Like, you don't want other people to like put pressure on you, but like a little bit of like putting pressure on yourself is like healthy. Cause like, and also I guess it just depends like what your goals are with everything. Cause like there's people who are just gonna participate and they'll be able to have fun participating. Like, I don't know, I don't have fun participating. like if I go out there, I want to do well. Like I have fun when I do well. Yeah. And it's even then it's like, is it really that much fun? No, but it's just like more rewarding when I do well, I guess. I don't know.
Me going to that Spartan race, I was like, oh, it's just going to be nice, easy fun.
Yes.
I go all out.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, I'm still tired. I'm like, well, yeah, you just exercise for 2 hours and had one sugar-free drink afterwards or whatever.
Had a go-go squeeze.
Oh, yeah, great. We actually will be releasing a workout that you and Brennan did when you were down here that had a bunch of sandbag work in it. So yeah, I think that was a huge win. We're going to have you two sit down and commentate that here soon. So we'll make sure to get that up and people can check it out, see you doing some of your stuff.
Yeah, I'm so happy because like I don't feel anything in my lower back. Like I didn't have like one moment, like even like after or anything, like waking up like this morning, my back just felt like completely like normal. Yeah. So like that, I'm really happy.
Huge win.
That. Yeah.
I thought you were going to be ready to handle it, but like you never really know. You're like, all right, we'll see how this goes. And it like went super well. So honestly, it was like a long workout, and like I think it was just ventilating that was the hard part. Like just breathing with the sandbag sitting on your chest gets really hard at the end of a workout. So it's like, but even for you, like the movement really didn't break down. You just were forced to break it a little bit more. Yeah. Which that's when you get tired, like that's all you can ask for. So thanks for doing this.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome.